What is going on, guys? Samuel World from Samuel One World Productions here, back with another ranking video for you all today. As with the recent release of Across the Spider-Verse, like now is the perfect time for me to give my updated ranking on all of the Spider-Man movies, from the Raimi trilogy to the two Amazing Spider-Man movies to the Homecoming trilogy to, of course, the two Reasons Spider-Man. For funsies, let's add the two Venom movies and Morbius in there as well. So that's a total of 13 movies I'm going to be ranking in this video. It's been a bit since I've actually done an update ranking on Spider-Man, so this is kind of perfect. So I hope you'll enjoy the ranking, and I would definitely love to know what your ranking would be of these films down below in the comments. So enough beating the bush, let's get started with the ranking, shall we? And for me, at number 13, dead last place at number 13 is Morbius, which, to be honest, should probably surprise nobody. But then again, I don't even hate Morbius. Like, it's a bad movie, don't get me wrong. Like, I think this is a bad movie. Like, I haven't rewatched it since it came out, but again, it's still bad. It's still a bad movie. Again, I don't think it's as bad as it may have to be. I think most of that comes to the performances from the actors, and it does have the kind of like guilty pleasure fun moments here and there that does elevate it a little bit. But again, it's still pretty bad. Again, it's basically a 2000 superhero movie, but in the worst possible ways. It's so predictable, so it's one of those films that you can tell there was so much stuff that was cut out, because especially when a lot of stuff just happens randomly out of nowhere and doesn't really have the most compelling story in the world. Like, it definitely had potential to be compelling, but it really didn't go much for it, honestly. Again, what can I say about Morbius? And also, those post-credit scenes, yeah, I hate those scenes. But again, it's a bad movie. Again, Morbius is a bad movie. I just don't think it's like one of the worst superhero movies ever made, but it's still in last place in the Spider-Man ranking. So yeah, that should tell you something. And unfortunately, coming in at 12, when you talk about the mainland Spider-Man movies, my number one at 12 is actually The Amazing Spider-Man 1. Yes, The Amazing Spider-Man 1 is now my least favorite mainland Spider-Man movie. And again, I don't even hate this movie. I don't even hate The Amazing Spider-Man, honestly. But it's just one of those movies that, no matter how much times I rewatched it, no matter how many times I will try to see what some people do see it, because I know there are some people that do think this movie is a hidden gem and it's a classic, that do adore it. I just wish I was one of those people. Like, okay, it does have its moments. It does have its good moments. It does have some solid action, and despite that not being huge on the actual portrayal, Andrew Garfield does do a pretty good job here, honestly. He does great. He and Emma Stone have great chemistry, and they work pretty well off each other throughout the movie. Again, there were some fun actions, some fun moments here and there, honestly. It's just the story was not that compelling. Some stuff just gets randomly dropped out. And I really couldn't care less about them trying to focus more on Peter's parents here, which I'll say it's different, but it just don't do well to make me actually care about all that stuff. Not mention the Lizard, terrible villain, awful portrayal here, despite the actor's best efforts. It's just a film that I've just found to be kind of boring and isn't like the true like game changer as they kind of make it have to be. Like this film's claimed as the untold origin story. Yeah, they gotta tell most of the same story here, just with some added stuff. But even then, they don't really like do anything to add anything interesting here. I mean, again, I don't think it's a bad movie, honestly. I don't hate the original Amazing Spider-Man. It's just kind of a dull movie that I just, no matter how many times I've rewatched it, because I always do rewatch it whenever, because I always watch like all these movies whenever a new Spider-Man movie comes out. And while I don't hate this movie, again, there are some good moments here. I just don't find it that interesting a movie, so in terms of the mainland Spider-Man movies, it is my least favorite. And now we actually get to what actually was my least favorite Spider-Man movie for the longest time, and that is The Amazing Spider-Man 2, which might be has gone up a little bit drastically actually on my most recent rewatch. I think a lot of that's mainly because of the fact that there's also another I've also gotten a lot of love recently, and I'm also done a thanks to FilmSpeak, who think this is actually his favorite Spider-Man movie, which I recommend checking out that video essay, by the way, and his channel in general. I think I did shout him out my music video essay, which you also should check out. But that made me appreciate some aspects of the movie a little bit more. Unfortunately, I do still have a lot of the same issues with the story and how it's handled and all the villains they played pretty here, which I never really cared about. The Goblin Bloodshot I could care less about, and the ending itself, honestly. But honestly, I had a little more fun and a little more intrigue with this rewatch, honestly, than I was anticipating. Actually, again, it has great visuals, it does have some good action sequences, and the whole theme like Wednesday is that actually hit a lot harder this time than in Real Dicks. Like, even though I never really cared for this scene, if I'm being honest. I know that's probably a hard take, but I don't know. It was just more the movie itself, not really the actual scene itself. But that scene really got a lot harder, honestly, on this rewatch. Again, the action is great, and Andrew Garfield definitely is great here. Again, the chemistry between Garfield and Stone are great here. I just like the fact that the film tries to juggle so many stuff, it really always holds it back for me. Especially when it tries to set up so many storylines, and again, Billy tries to set up an anime movie, try to set up like a Sinister Six movie, which really cool, but again, they decided to push it onto this movie, which, again, there are some stuff I do appreciate more on this rewatch, which is why it actually is color spots high. Actually, again, for the longest time, this was my least favorite Spider-Man movie. And while I still have a lot of the same issues with the movie that unfortunately makes them just being just fine at best, there's definitely still a little more to appreciate. As a matter of fact, we can definitely see what they were trying to go for. It's just that Sony got a little greedy. But overall, I think the movie's just fine. Now at my number 10 and my number 9, I'm including both Venom movies. Number 10 being the original Venom 2018, and number 9 being Legend of Carnage. Which these are definitely interesting movies to talk about. Like the 2018 film, I really hated when it first saw it. I really did not like it at all, honestly, but I don't know if it's because of the fact that my mom watched it so many times. I ended up appreciating it a lot more, actually. Again, it's not a movie by any means, honestly, but it's one of those kind of guilty pleasure type of movies that you just get up and just turn your brain off and have fun with. Because again, it does have issues with the story and some certain characters. The villain sucks, the third act sucks. But there are some genuine laughs here, honestly. I think everything from Tom Hardy and his back and forth with Venom, all pretty much the highlight of these movies. They're all, the nice back and forth they both have. It's just so fun and so great to watch, honestly. It's definitely weird the fact they're trying to make Venom like an anti-hero type of character, which is what's felt weird they're doing. There's a lot of Spider-Man villains. I mean, hell, again, Morbius and getting like Kraven Hunter one this year as well, and getting one for Mutri, if I remember correctly. I don't remember how to pronounce that name, my bad. I think it might be another one, I don't remember. But yeah, that's so weird, but again, Tom Hardy does do great in his role. Again, back and forth with Venom is great, honestly, and there was some nice moments, some decent action sequences. It's a film that you just, I can't help just tell my brain off and have fun. And then the sequel with Legend of Carnage, which is at number 9, which I would say in my opinion did drop a little bit, honestly, the more I think about it. I still think it's a solid movie, honestly. I do think it is definitely a better improvement over the original movie, honestly. It definitely still has that dumb fun moments. Again, the rapport between Tom Hardy and Venom is great, honestly. They'll probably always be the highlight of these movies. And it definitely got a nice post-credit scene that unfortunately they end up wasting. But the film surely shouldn't have been as short as it is. Like, it's 90 minutes, and one that could have been just easy to watch, and it's definitely a quick watch. They just rushed through so many stuff and stuff that could have been very interesting. Like, I think the film could have easily just been 2 hours, honestly. Like, I think up to just 2 hours to maybe have a little time to develop certain plot elements and I'll have more time for freaking Carnage, because Carnage is barely character in his own movie. Which I think is the major disappointment with the sequel is Carnage. Like, Carnage is an iconic character and you don't really do much interesting with him here. And Roy Harrelson does do great, honestly. I mean, it's freaking Roy Harrelson, but again, they just don't really do any interesting Carnage, and even the final battle's kind of let down, honestly. Again, still a decent, solid movie, and definitely might be better than the original Venom, but honestly not by a whole lot. So they're just decent, fun movies that you can just turn your brain off and have a good time, but not much beyond that. And also sequel was directed by Andy Serkis, which I'm pretty sure some people tend to forget, honestly, is that sequel was directed by Andy Serkis. Yes, that Andy Serkis. Yeah. So the third movie is actually better than these ones. And now, coming in at number 8, we have Spider-Man 3. Like, Spider-Man is definitely one of those like, this is the definition of a movie that I have a complicated relationship with. I never really know what my true thoughts are with the movie. Like, like one minute I love it, one minute I hate it, one minute I'm like mixed on it, one minute I like it, one minute I dislike it. Like, I've always been so up and down with how I feel about Spider-Man 3, honestly. Like seriously, like even when I first saw it when it came out, and when I was watching it on DVD, I never knew how to feel about Spider-Man 3. Like, it's definitely an odd movie to think about, especially with production history and the fact that Sony wanted to push for some more aspects and the production troubles and Sam Raimi having a miserable experience with it. So honestly, with number 8, what are my thoughts on it now? I'll say I'm not more on that it is solid. It is a solid film. Now you can tell that there are some great ideas here, that there was some awesome potential for this to also be another excellent entry. It's just, again, Sony definitely just wanted to prevent him here, wanted to do this and that, and we're gonna have a movie that's just very overstuffed and doesn't really do much interesting with its ideas. Like, again, there are some great action sequences here, like incredible sequences. Again, Tom Cruise is still great, Chris Dunn's still great, James Franco's still great. Everything involving Sandman is fantastic here. I love what they do with Sandman here. He probably should have been the main villain here, if I'm being honest. Like, I agree, like, maybe, and I just like a lot of the Harry stuff here as well. I think the visuals are great as well. Actually, I don't think they do much with the symbiote storyline for all Peter Parker, especially when it becomes kind of a dick later on. Some characters kind of feel pointless in the whole story, and we all can agree that Topher Grace really did do that great of a job as Venom or Eddie Brock, honestly. Again, you can tell he was just kind of shoehorned in last minute, and it's kind of a disgrace, honestly. And there might be some story directions if like, the kind of retconning on Peter's Uncle Ben's killer was kind of, so that wasn't huge on. I'm not sure that was like a Sony thing or if that was Sam Raimi's idea, but I didn't really care for that. Like, honestly, this movie I definitely am back and forth on how I always feel about it, but right now, I think it's solid, honestly. I think it's like I obviously don't think it's like one of the worst superhero movies ever made, like some like have to be, but it definitely has its issues, honestly, and I can understand why some people would not like it. Like, if I say I dislike it another day, honestly, again, that's how back and forth I'm always am with Spider-Man 3, but right now, I think it lands nicely at number 8. Now, at number 7 and number 6, we have the two of the Tom Holland movies, with number 7 being Homecoming, and number 6 being Far From Home. I'm not going to get too much into that. I got to talk about them when I do my MCU ranking, so I'm not going to get too much in here, but again, Homecoming, nice welcome surprise. Tom Holland's great here. Mike Keaton's fantastic as the villain here. Solid enough action, a nice like John Hughes vibe here. And Far From Home, I always probably enjoyed a lot when see that, like most people, because I know a lot of people seem to not really hate Far From Home or dislike it, but I've always loved it, despite some odd scenes here and there, I'm not gonna lie, but it's definitely a lot funnier than the first movie. Does utilize characters a lot more here, especially the supporting characters. I absolutely love Mysterio here, but about Jake Gyllenhaal, who was fantastic. The post-credit scene still is amazing. I like the back and forth between Zendaya and Tom Holland throughout the movie. They didn't make a welcome as couple, and one of the better love interests in these Spider-Man movies, honestly. So overall, I still do love these movies. They're great watches. That while they do have their issues here and there, I still can't help but enjoy them whenever I come back to them. Now we get to 5 films I think are probably the Mount Rushmore of Spider-Man movies. The Spider-Man movies I think are honestly some of my all-time favorite movies, or some I really am super high on. So coming in at number 5, we have the original Sam Raimi Spider-Man. The film that started it all, and the film that actually made me fall in love with Spider-Man. The film that was my introductory to Spider-Man. This was the film that made me a huge Spider-Man fan, and honestly, 20 years later, I think it still holds up. Again, do some of those really do hold up? Not really, especially when it comes to some of the cheesiness, the goofiness, and the Green Goblin suit, but I still adore everything about this movie. Honestly, I think Willem Dafoe is a fantastic villain here. I think Tom Holland is actually great here. I think he doesn't really get a lot of credit he does for these movies, and being honest, I don't know why people really hate on him, for being honest. I don't understand, and same with Mary Jane here as well. I don't understand why people hate her. Like, am I the only one who thinks that? Please tell me I'm not the only one who thinks that. But the acting is so great. They have utilized what makes Spider-Man, well, Spider-Man, and this probably is the perfect origin story movie in my opinion. The film that best utilizes these origin story for a superhero, like what made him become a superhero, what he has to go through and everything, like how he became who he is, and the juggling and everything. Like, there's just so much to adore about this original movie. I can't help but smile and laugh every single time I come back to it. And well, maybe some aspects feel a little bit dated, honestly. It's a film that I just always have a blast whenever I come back to it. I always have a good feeling of inside. It's never nostalgia. The film really has a great story and has genuine great characters, a great villain, and some actual emotional scenes. So, yeah. So I still love the original series Spider-Man. I still do adore this movie. I think it's honestly one of the best superhero movies, and honestly one of my favorite films of all time. Like I said, these top 5 movies are films I consider to be my all-time favorite movies. That's how good they are, honestly, and I still do have a soft spot for this original movie. Now at number 4, and my number 3, we have both Spider-Verse movies. Now, yes, I have both my movies on top 3. I think there are up to 2 other movies I consider to be better, but just slightly honestly, like always debate honestly I think I debate a little back and forth on whether or not, you know, this should be higher or not, but I think right now I say number 4 is the original Into the Spider-Verse, and number 3 is Across Spider-Verse. I actually debate whether or not I consider Across Spider-Verse to be better than the original than Into Spider-Verse, but again, they're kind of, to be honest, they're kind of close, honestly. They're kind of really razor thin close, honestly. But I do love both these movies. I think these are both incredible Spider-Man stories and some of the best Spider-Man material ever told, honestly. There's honestly really ain't no reason why it's not in top 2, honestly, because again, all these movies are fantastic, and I like them for a lot of different reasons. But yeah, I remember being surprised by Into Spider-Verse when it came out in 2018. I'm pretty sure a lot of us were surprised, considering, you know, it's somebody starting to pitch the animation, and they don't really have the best track record. I mean, just like people did the Emoji Movie, so that should tell you something. But this one really surprised me, which is breathtakingly beautiful animation, how it really kind of mocked Spider-Man, but still went honored Spider-Man tropes, honestly, that you see in a lot of Spider-Man media. Miles Morales is a compelling character. I think this is a film that really made Miles, along with the 2018 game, that made Miles Morales such a now an iconic character, honestly. I didn't know who Miles Morales even was until that game and that film came out. But it goes for a compelling journey throughout the movie. I like the different Spider-Mans they see here. Again, the action is so great. That leap of faith scene is definitely in the favorite be my favorite Spider-Man moment in general. Like, that's how good it is. And I never get to Across Spider-Verse, which is, of course, the most recent Spider-Man movie. And yeah, it's just a razor-thin difference almost between that and Into Spider-Verse. But yeah, Across Spider-Verse is definitely a lot more ambitious movie. It definitely is also part 1 of 2 of a movie, so it's not like a complete movie, but I was still in awe from beginning to end. Incredible moments, the best animation you will ever see in any film, period. Incredible, again, the way it still tacks on Spider-Man tropes, I thought was fantastic. The way they kind of go for that even further in this movie is even more insane, honestly. And the action is great, Miles Jr. is still great, again, the characters are great. It's like, I already did like a long review on that movie. You guys want to know my thoughts on that movie, but again, I think both movies are fantastic, and who knows, even when Beyond the Spider-Verse comes out, honestly, I think one of these movies could easily be my number 1, honestly. I think it could end up being my number 1 favorite Spider-Man movie. Actually, as of right now, I think having that number 3 is a nice spot, but again, Spider-Verse could honestly easily come number 1, honestly, when Beyond the Spider-Verse comes out, or when I rewatch this movie so much more. Like, who knows? I guess we'll see. And anyway, I definitely debate actually a lot between my top 2, actually. But, you know, coming number 2, I decided to go with Spider-Man 2, which I would say, if you guys have seen and following for a while, this guy always said that there wasn't going to be any Spider-Man film that was going to top Spider-Man 2 as my favorite Spider-Man movie. Like, Spider-Man 2 is one of the best films ever made. It's one of the best sequels ever made. It took literally everything involving the original Spider-Man and just amped it up. Like, Peter goes through an incredible journey here with growth and being like beaten up, everything is going wrong for him, but not in like a mean-spirited way. That still makes you connect with Peter, what he goes through and the struggle with being Spider-Man. I mean, that train sequence is still amazing, and that scene has Aunt May where he admits he's responsible for Uncle Ben's death. hits me every single time. So much emotion here, incredible action set pieces, an amazing villain Doc Ock, great character interactions, and unlike 2002 Spider-Man, this one still holds up incredibly well. And it's from the 90s later, it's still talked about as a classic Spider-Man movie. It's definitely a classic Spider-Man story. Well, all the hardships that Peter goes through, and a lot of this is kind of what makes Spider-Man such a relatable character. And as mentioned before, I always gravitate a lot towards relatable characters. And Peter's definitely, and that's why I always say Spider-Man be my favorite superhero movie. And that's why I always gravitate towards Spider-Man be my favorite superhero of all time, because of his relatability. Because he's just an everyday person, just trying to save the world, but also trying to live a normal life, trying to make everyone he cares about happy. Like, his definition of what makes being a superhero so tough and so difficult. Like, he's the definition of the epitome, which is something that's also been told in the last superhero media, but Spider-Man is the epitome of that, and that's what always makes this movie's story still compelling. Even if some of them might go through similar arcs and similar details, a lot of these films do find different ways to really reflect that. I mean, that's what the Spider-Verse movies have done, and Tom Holland ones, and the original film. And that's what makes Spider-Man so compelling to watch, and Spider-Man 2 is definitely one of the best. But for me personally, my #1 favorite Spider-Man movie is, as you probably can guess, it's still Spider-Man No Way Home, which I'm not sure a lot of people are going to be happy about this choice, because I think I noticed that after Cross Spider-Verse, No Way Home definitely has gotten a lot of hatred online, saying, oh, this is what No Way Home should have been. Like, even people that love the movie now saying this shit like that, but I think even after seeing Cross Spider-Verse, I still consider No Way Home to be the best Spider-Man movie. I wasn't excited for this movie when it came out, honestly, mostly because of that I thought it was going to be another one of those Spider-Man 3 or Amazing Spider-Man 2, where it tried to cram in so many villains, so many characters, so many stuff, to where it was going to be bloated and everything like that. Like, even the trailers didn't impress me that much, if I'm being honest. But when I actually watched it, I ended up being blown away, actually. Honestly, even after, even the fact that this movie it's been like a year and a half since it came out, and from the initial experience, it's one of the movies I think honestly gets better on every rewatch. You watch it, and again, it makes freaking Homecoming and Far From Home so much better. Like, I really love movies, but these films make them so much better. To be honest, the ones that big, I actually was debating having one of them at #5, honestly, because again, this film did so much right. Again, you're on with what I mentioned about Spider-Man being a relatable character, and that's probably what Tom Holland gets to shine the most as the character, having the most emotional scenes, and some moments that really reflect on what makes Spider-Man such, like, sometimes people, I mean, being Spider-Man just freaking sucks sometimes, and in a way, it kind of acts like a secret origin story for the character, which is actually pretty interesting if you think about it. And well, yeah, maybe the setup isn't like the best in the world, honestly. I didn't really mind it. The action is fantastic here, and the way they utilize the other villains from the Raimi movies and the Garfield movies are fantastic, and they also make even those movies much better movies. And the way they utilize Green Goblin was fantastic, Doc Ock, Sandman, Lizard, and even freaking Electro, and they make the Panthers at least a lot more better, and they at least are utilized better here than they were in their movie. At least they made Spider-Man ones. Well, you can say this film kind of has a lot of fan service and nostalgia. Like, sometimes that fan service nostalgia isn't a bad thing sometimes. Like, I know that's kind of like the big talking point in movies and shows nowadays is nostalgia and fan service. But it's one of those things where when it's done right, it can make for some compelling stuff. Because even with nostalgia and the fan service stuff, especially when back with the other Spider-Mans, they don't deteriorate away from Tom Holland's arc and what he goes through throughout the movie and all the stuff that he went through throughout the movie. And all the shows he's done through of them, Peter Parker and having to go to Doctor Strange about what happens. And him dealing with the consequences of his actions, and that caused a lot of turmoil, and especially the one scene that's made me go, no, 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 which, if you know the scene I'm talking about, my god. And that ending gets me every single time. So, yeah, for me, No Way Home is, in my opinion, the best Spider-Man movie. Again, it may have a lot of nostalgia fans stuff, but it does it in the best way to it. Even that it doesn't deteriorate from Tom Holland's arc and all the stuff he goes through throughout the movie. It makes the freaking last two Tom Holland movies better. Even makes the Raimi movies and even the Amazing Spider-Man movies a lot better in hindsight, actually. Once, like, you can see too, and it made me appreciate Andrew Garfield's version of Spider-Man so much better, especially knowing what he went through after that movie, and it kind of felt like a redemption thing for Andrew Garfield, considering what he had to go through. And what happened to him, like, just, and there's so much incredible moments and incredible final battle. So yeah, for me, No Way Home, in my opinion, is the best Spider-Man movie. I think any Spider-Man was going to top Spider-Man 2, but the more I really thought about it, the more I really thought about which Spider-Man I would want to come back to the most, I would go No Way Home, honestly. Even after the initial experience, this film still gets better. So yeah, No Way Home is my favorite. Well guys, I hope you enjoyed my ranking on every Spider-Man movie. I would love to know down below in the comment section what are your thoughts on all these movies. What are your thoughts on how would you rank all the Spider-Man movies? Let me know down below in the comment section. Again, I did post a review on Across the Spider-Verse if you can't check that out already. I have a lot more rankings and a list coming for the summer very soon, which I'm very excited for. Thank you guys so much for watching. I truly do appreciate it. I am Samuel World from Samuel Productions. I will see you next time as always. Stay cool. Bate.